The Denver Broncos just received news that's making the entire NFL nervous. And trust me, what happened in the last 24 hours isn't just shocking. I've been analyzing NFL matchups for years, and this is about to change everything about Monday Night Football. You know what's wild? Multiple bombshells dropped today, and I'm watching the Browns coaching staff already in panic mode. Their worst nightmare just became reality. And let me break this down for you. It's not just about one thing. When I saw the report about Zack Allen, I couldn't believe it. He's not just back. He's showing numbers that are making offensive coordinators lose sleep. What I'm seeing in the data is how this perfect storm just opened up a path that goes way beyond just sneaking into that 7th playoff spot. What happened next will change everything about the AFC playoff picture. And I'm not just throwing out another hot take here. I've got the numbers right in front of me that are making even the analytics experts question everything they thought they knew about this matchup. The chain of events that's about to unfold. Hold on tight because what I'm about to show you is absolutely wild. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Let me drop this first bombshell on you, and the numbers here are absolutely mind-blowing. Take a look at what next-gen stats just revealed about our defensive anchor, Zack Allen. This is where it gets crazy. He's sitting right behind All-Pro Dexter Lawrence in a stat that's making offensive coordinators completely redesign their game plans. Here's what nobody's talking about. When Zack Allen is getting double-teamed, we're not talking about some running back chip block here. We're talking about a full guard and center combination. He's still getting to the quarterback. And get this, he's recorded 3.5 sacks while being double-teamed. Think that's not impressive? Let me put this in perspective for you. The entire Atlanta Falcons team a couple weeks ago didn't have 3.5 sacks total. And here's our interior defensive lineman doing it while fighting through double teams. But here's where it gets really interesting. When I looked at today's injury report, something jumped out at me that changed everything. Zack Allen, full participation. Not just 1 day. Not just 2 days. 3 full days of practice. And let me tell you something. When you look around the league at teams who haven't had their bye week yet, you just don't see this kind of recovery. This is the kind of news that turns a good defense into an absolute nightmare for opposing offenses. Think about what this means for Monday night. When did single-team Zack Allen? It's not even fair. It's an absolute mismatch nightmare. The Browns' offensive line is already struggling, and now they're going to have to make an impossible choice. Double-team Allen and leave their edges exposed, or try to block him one-on-one and pray. And trust me, from what I'm seeing in the film room, neither option is going to end well for them. And you want to know the craziest part? This is just the first piece of news that dropped today. Wait until you see what else we discovered about the Browns' offensive situation. It's about to get even worse for them. Now, let's talk about something that just broke today, and trust me, this is where things get really interesting for the Browns' offense. Everyone's focused on Jerry Jeudy facing his old team, but here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. The Browns just lost their second leading receiver, Cedric Tillman, to a concussion. And when I dug into the numbers, what I found was shocking. Listen to this. Tillman isn't just their wide receiver. He's their second leader in both targets and receiving yards. He's got 3 touchdowns this season. That's a massive hole in their offense. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This news dropped right when people were worried about our own cornerback situation. You might be thinking, wait, didn't the Broncos just rule out Riley Moss with that MCL injury? And you're right. But let me tell you, sometimes what looks like bad news on the surface is actually a blessing in disguise. Remember why we went out and got Levi Wallace this offseason? This is exactly the situation we planned for. Think about this for a second. While everyone's focused on the Riley Moss injury, they're missing the bigger picture. The Browns are now down their wide receiver too, and we've got a veteran corner in Levi Wallace ready to step up. This isn't just a coincidence. This is the kind of strategic depth that championship teams build. And we haven't even gotten to the biggest advantage this gives us, when you look at how this affects their entire offensive scheme. Now, let me tell you about something that just came out today that's got everyone talking. Jerry Jeudy just made some comments that are about to backfire in a way he never saw coming. You want to know what he said? He's talking about wanting to whip us up on Monday night. But here's what's fascinating. He didn't stop there. He started pointing fingers about his frustrating 4 years in Denver, blaming circumstances he couldn't control. But let me break this down for you because this is where it gets really interesting. Pat Surtain's response? It's the kind of calm confidence that should have Jeudy worried. When I heard Pat Surtain talk about going against Judy in 7-on-7s about being ready to go against him, I knew this was about to get serious. We're talking about a corner who's been absolutely locking down elite receivers all season. Think about this for a second. Pat Surtain has already shut down DK Metcalf. He's erased George Pickens. He made Mike Evans disappear. Jerry Jeudy isn't even in the top 5 of receivers Surtain has locked down this season. Let me tell you something about Sean Payton. He's got that extra juice for this game. When you look at how he responds to players who throw shade at his team, when you see how he plans for these personal matchups, it's exactly like what we saw against Brock Bowers last week. This is the Belichick model of coaching right here. Take away your strength and make you go somewhere else. Listen, what I'm about to tell you about our offensive line situation is absolutely mind-blowing. Let's start with Quinn Miners, because what he's done these past 2 weeks is something you rarely see in the NFL. I'm looking at these grades right here, 94.0 in back-to-back weeks. That's not just good, that's elite-level dominance. And timing couldn't be better, because what's coming up against the Browns is a serious test. The Browns' defensive line, they're ranked among the best in football. You've got Dalvin Tomlinson, who just wrecked Russell Wilson with 10 pressures up the middle. They came from Wilson holding the ball too long. And Bo Nix, he's not that guy. He gets the ball out faster, he's more mobile, and with Quinn Miners playing at this level, Tomlinson is about to have a very different experience. But wait until you hear this. Everyone's talking about Miles Garrett, and yes, he's been playing well. He got fired up after that Defensive Player of the Year debate with one of the Watt brothers. We just held Max Crosby to 0 sacks last week. 0. And, you know, Crosby and Garrett, they're 1A and 1B in this league. Now let's talk about something that's going to change everything about this matchup. There's a reason we have the highest paid offensive line room in the entire NFL. It's for games exactly like this. Sure, McGlinchey had some false starts against Crosby, but when you look at the bigger picture, when you see how Garrett Ballys matches up, we're built for this kind of challenge. Now, let me show you something that's going to change everything about how people view this Broncos team. Everyone's talking about that 7th playoff seed, about ending that 8-year playoff drought. But here's what I discovered when I looked deeper into the schedule. We're not just fighting for a wildcard spot anymore. This is about something much bigger. The Chargers, who we're chasing, their running game just took a massive hit. J.K. Dobbins, their phenom running back, who's been dominating this year, he's out for the next 4 weeks on injured reserve. And when you look at their schedule, Falcons, us on a short week, Patriots, Buccaneers, Chiefs, Raiders, this couldn't have come at a worse time for them. Let me break down what this means for us. With the Chargers securing a win against Atlanta this week, the stakes have shifted dramatically. They've strengthened their hold on playoff positioning, and now we're looking at a Thursday night showdown where they'll be riding high on momentum, even without their top ball carrier. For us, coming off a tough game against the Colts, this isn't just about survival in the playoff race anymore. It's about proving we can take down a team on the rise and keep our own postseason hopes alive. And a win on Monday night? That gives us a 77% chance of making the playoffs. That's all from my side. Now it's your turn. What do you think about the Monday night game? Who will win? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't.